What if one morning you woke up to find your neighborhood slowly being taken over by strangers, your land seized, your community divided? This is the reality for many in the West Bank. Imagine waking up every day to the unsettling reality of your home shrinking, your livelihood threatened, your freedom restrained. This is more than a political issue, it's a human story, a tale of lives disrupted and dreams deferred. This is the domino effect of the West Bank settlement expansion. To understand the present, we must delve into the past. The seeds of settlement expansion in the West Bank were sown in the late 60s, following the Six-Day War, when Israel captured the region from Jordan. The first civilian settlement, Kfar Etzion, was established in 1967, marking the beginning of a new era in the region's complex history. The 70s saw a surge in settlement activity, spurred by a combination of ideological motivations and strategic considerations. The government's policy of encouraging Israelis to settle in the West Bank, coupled with the allure of economic incentives, led to a steady increase in the number of settlements and settlers. The Oslo Accords of the 90s, intended to pave the way for a peaceful resolution to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, ironically resulted in a rapid acceleration of settlement construction. The period of negotiation became a race against time, as both parties sought to establish facts on the ground that would strengthen their bargaining positions. Fast forward to the 21st century, the growth of settlements has not abated. Despite widespread international condemnation and numerous United Nations resolutions declaring them illegal, the settlements continue to expand, driven by political dynamics and demographic pressures. The construction of the separation barrier, ostensibly for security reasons, has further facilitated the annexation of Palestinian land, exacerbating the fragmentation of Palestinian communities. The expansion of settlements is not merely a process of physical transformation. It is also a process of social and economic disruption, with profound consequences for the Palestinian population. The loss of agricultural land, the restriction of access to resources, the displacement of families, and the erosion of traditional ways of life are just some of the impacts that have been felt in the shadow of the expanding settlements. The history of settlement expansion in the West Bank is a narrative of change and contestation, marked by periods of rapid growth and moments of intense conflict. It is a story that continues to unfold, with each new construction project, each new road, each new security barrier, adding another layer to an increasingly complex and challenging landscape. With each passing year, the settlements grew, slowly altering the landscape of the West Bank. The expansion isn't just about land, it's about lives. It's about the Palestinian communities who are compelled to bear the brunt of settlement expansion, a process that often leads to the confiscation of their land, their displacement, and their restricted access to life-sustaining resources. The establishment and expansion of settlements encroach upon agricultural areas, restricting access to essential resources such as water and arable land. This impacts not only the traditional way of life for many Palestinians, but also presents significant challenges to their economic sustainability. Imagine, if you will, generations of farmers watching as their fertile fields, once teeming with life, are taken over by concrete and steel. The domino effect doesn't stop at the economic level. Infrastructure development associated with settlement expansion, such as roads and security barriers, can fragment Palestinian communities. This physical separation disrupts social cohesion, the very fabric that binds communities together. It impedes the free movement of people, affecting access to schools, healthcare, and other essential services. The resulting isolation exacerbates the existing challenges faced by West Bank residents. On a broader scale, settlement expansion has been a consistent source of tension, adding to the complex political landscape of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. The construction of settlements in the West Bank is viewed by the international community and is emphasized in various United Nations resolutions as a significant obstacle to the achievement of a two-state solution. Perhaps the most profound impact of settlement expansion is felt in the psychological and emotional realm. The daily challenges, the uncertainties, the restrictions imposed on individuals living in proximity to settlements contribute to a pervasive sense of insecurity and anxiety. In essence, the domino effect of settlement expansion extends far beyond territorial boundaries. It profoundly impacts lives, disrupts communities, and influences the political climate. The ripple effects of these expansions are felt far and wide. It is therefore a matter of global concern, and a challenge that requires a nuanced understanding, dialogue, and cooperation from all stakeholders. The ripple effects of these expansions are felt far and wide. The world watches and responds. As the expansion of West Bank settlements continues, the international community has not been silent. United Nations resolutions have repeatedly deemed the construction of settlements in the West Bank as a hindrance to the ideal of a two-state solution. These resolutions, echoing the sentiments of a world concerned, serve as a testament to the gravity of the situation. Governments around the globe have voiced their opinions, issuing statements that vary in tone and substance, yet all underscore the urgency of the matter. Some express concern about the humanitarian implications, others focus on the geopolitical ramifications, and many advocate for the cessation of settlement expansion. But it's not just the governments and international organizations that are speaking out. Advocacy groups dedicated to this cause play a pivotal role in this global conversation. They work tirelessly to raise awareness about the issue, often providing first-hand accounts and data that illustrate the stark reality of life in the West Bank. Their efforts amplify the voices of those directly affected, ensuring their stories are not lost in the political discourse. Through protests, petitions, and policy recommendations, these groups strive to bring about change. They challenge the status quo, demanding justice and dignity for the Palestinian communities in the West Bank. Their relentless commitment to the cause has catalyzed a global movement, rallying support from individuals and institutions alike. As we continue to grapple with the complexities of the West Bank settlement expansion, one thing is clear: the call for a peaceful resolution grows louder. So, where do we go from here? Is a question that resonates deeply in this context. The West Bank settlement expansion issue is a complex one, intricately woven into the fabric of historical, cultural, and political narratives. The path forward requires a multifaceted approach, one that fundamentally respects human rights and sovereignty. It's about creating a dialogue that encourages empathy and understanding, fostering an environment where diverse voices are heard and valued. It's about cooperation, not just on an international scale, but also at the grassroots level, where the consequences of these expansions are most acutely felt. Governments, international organizations, and advocacy groups must continue to play their roles in raising awareness about the far-reaching impacts of settlement expansions. But it's not just up to them. Each one of us has a part to play, whether it's educating ourselves, engaging in constructive conversations, or advocating for peaceful resolutions. It's a complex issue, but one that demands our attention and action.